There it is. What's happening, guys? Once again, we're back for our team training. Super excited because today, unlike we've never done it before, we've only kept it in here to all of our top producers. But I wanted to reach out for a couple of different reasons, right? I wanted to reach out because there's so many individuals that are doing a great job. So we decided to bring on Dominic DiFranco. Dominic, if you could say a quick hello, get you on screen here, man.
Yeah, how's it going, guys? Appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And thank you for being here. Dom, I gotta tell you, dude, I became a fan. The moment I joined, you presented, you were on stage at the conference. And I was
Mm.
like, dude, look at this guy over here getting on stage and just delivering with such impact, such great tonality, and just totally like killed it on stage. So, dude,
Yeah,
thank you
appreciate
for
that.
that. Because ever since then, I was just like, let me follow him a little bit. I see that you're active with your TikTok. You're super active with your team. You've been growing. So I got a chance to see you from afar, and it's super cool. But maybe many of our agents that are on here have not had the opportunity to get a chance to know Dominic. So would you just give us a little bit
Yeah,
of you and your background?
yeah, for sure. And I appreciate that introduction, bringing that up as well. I mean, that was my first time I really spoke in front of a crowd that big, and it was just kind of thrust on me. I think like by an individual who was here before that used to run our manager meetings like a month before, and I was like, all right, well, I've always seen myself doing this, so I guess the universe just kind of kicks you off the high dive sometimes, and you just got to jump in. So but yeah, again, my name is Dominic, and I appreciate you guys having me here. I came here to Unitrust a little over a year ago. My good to go date was actually January 21st. I think I sold my maybe it was right after that. And then I sold my first policy my first day on the 29th, off of two D leads. I sold two policies that day, so and it's been history ever since. I got into the industry back in 2022 for a short amount of time with Josh Crisp when he was at a different three-letter company, and that's it was just not like the best experience. I had worked in the mortgage industry and did very well there for 3 years. I just didn't like the individual I was working for, and the culture that he was putting out there was it's kind of like golden handcuffs if you've ever been a part of that, right? Where it feels like everything's provided for you, but it's like you must comply with all of my rules. And I was like, yeah, I don't care how much money I'm making. I'm out of here. I need freedom, right?
Yeah.
So then I found Josh, and it was just not a great experience there. So I got out of the insurance industry probably after like 2 months. And then I went on like a crazy journey of life where, my wife and I got pregnant. And then I was like, man, I was Ubering. I started a detail company. I was trying to do a window business with my family. All I was, just trying to make cash just to help, like just to get by for my family. And I knew I was always going to be in a position again where I could have success because I did it before at the mortgage company. But I went through like a very dark time in my life, which was a very useful time because it brought me on my hero's journey to where eventually on January 17th of 2024 last year, I stopped off to get gas at like 10 in the morning. And I had my car stolen from me. Literally, this guy ran up as I was putting the pump back into my
No
car,
way.
and he stole my car from me in Cleveland, Ohio. And that led me to getting on the phone with Josh Crisp the next day. We spoke from literally 9 at night until 2 in the morning. And I was excited, man. I was up pacing the whole time. I could tell he was as well. He's like, dude, I found home and perfect timing with your call. Just like, hear me out and like, let's talk. I said, okay. We talked. He put me in touch with Ron. He's like, if you guys connect, I want you to go with him. And now I've been here building with Ron and enjoying every bit of Unitrust and taking advantage of the wonderful opportunity that Pete and Brandon provide to us for the past year now, and it's been life changing. It's literally been life changing for. I mean, I literally was at the point where, um, I mean, I was $4,000 a month just to make my fixed bills, and last January I made $1,500. I felt fortunate if I could go out and Uber for 8 hours in a day and come back and make $200 in that time, and then spend time with my family. To where now I don't even have to think about that stuff, and it's helped elevate so many parts of life that I feel so fortunate and blessed for. And then the opportunity to be able to come and share it is even more of a blessing.
I love that, bro. What an amazing story. I mean, car literally stolen and doing odd jobs or detailing companies and just really trying to like figure out the way to make it, right? So
Yeah.
you started in insurance. It wasn't quite for you. Like you not I don't want to say failed because you're clearly not failed because you're back at it.
Hmm.
It just wasn't the right platform, right?
Hmm.
And then ended up coming back here. And I mean, you have been on fire since the moment you probably grabbed the phone to I know some agents on here are gonna get jealous and they'll be like, you sold on your first day on D leads and got new policies. Because it takes a lot.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time and effort for a lot of people to be able to work those deletes properly and be able to
Yes.
find that juice that's in there. But man, it's so cool seeing this trajectory. And I'm gonna go into your numbers a little bit. I wrote those down because they're eye-opening. I read a quote today. The quote said something along the lines of get your finance up so strong that you don't even have to worry about when payday is. And that's
Mm.
pretty much what you said. Like, people are excited, like, yo, next Friday I get paid. We can go ahead and do this. Now it's just like, you know what? We get paid every day. We write policies the next day, the following day, the deposits are coming in. And as long as we do more sales, the numbers can just keep on coming in. But you took right from the get-go to not just producing, but also building. What's
Hmm.
helped you on the building side to be able to amount to what you're doing now?
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good question. Well, I mean, like anybody, when I first came in, a lot of it for me was I had to be like, I had to edify it for myself. And I think that's an okay thing, unless you have experience in the bit. Like, for example, unless it's like, and I just take this because it's, who I work with directly, but obviously, like Grayson and Chris Photo could amount to say this as well. If you know the business really well and you've been around the block and you sit down with Pete and you hear this opportunity, you're like, yeah, amazing. I could come in and build right away. Well, I didn't have that. I had a bad experience where I worked with Josh before, and it was frustrating because I'm a very type A person. So I'm very systematic, which is why unit trust really works well for me, is because I can plug into that and then I can learn it and then run it my own way, not deviating from the system, but like run it in the sense of like, I'm type A. So I like my leads printed a certain way. I like certain markings on them, right? So I adapt certain things to help me stay organized within the confines of the system already presented and then just run with it, right? So once I did that, then I quickly realized like, okay, I can talk to people who I at least in my warm market, because I saw Josh and Ron did that. It was warm market because they always say you need a starting foundation. My goal is to build a massive freaking coliseum over the years that I'm in this thing.
Yes.
A coliseum's not built unless you have a solid foundation. So I am, if you notice, like I put a lot of posts out about how the average AP per agent on my team is extremely high. I take a ton of pride in that because that shows that I'm taking time with each individual person I bring in within my. At some point, I'm not going to be able to do that. Josh can't do that, right? That's why his system now is he trains leaders. That's what I'm trying to do. So I was just very selective in the beginning, and I still am with who it is I bring in and around because, of course, obviously, who you have surrounding, or with you is very important, but I want to make sure that I'm training warriors that can get up, produce, and then go teach other people to do it. So a lot of it in the beginning is just warm market. I worked in sales. So of course I go to the guys who were frustrated as well and left and talked with them and just had conversations. And then it just, one by one, it's just like I just genuinely believe like those who stay and the people who are here and have been here long, like a Grayson and a Chris and Brad, you'll agree with this statement that like those who stay will be rewarded. This is a business of like you just have to stick in it and keep putting effort in. And if you're disciplined with your habits and what you do on a daily basis, over time, nature just picks up in this business and you get a lot of momentum and really good things just happen. Like I can't tell you how I attract. I've had two people hit me up off of social media now from just posting. One of them is starting, like he's running a schedule today. I could have never said that that was going to happen. It's just doing the next best thing. And all of a sudden, good momentum happens and good things come to you. So that's my mindset with building. And now I'm really putting into it. And of course, what you focus on expands. So I look forward to seeing in the next 12 months how it really expands.
Michael, you see that? It's because of the topless cold plunge posts.
Good. It was
Mike, you
funny,
would,
but
Mike. Dude, I love that. I think like if we ever get together or next conference, I'm gonna bring you a sword here, bro, because you're building
dude, I
warriors.
love it.
You're building a coliseum. Like my man is like 300 in here, just ready to rip his shirt out and
Yes.
get in it. But that's the mindset that you have, right? Like you're literally going to war every day. It's it's gonna be a battle. You know that you have to get your team
Mhm.
ready, and you're setting the mindset. But also it's kind of trickling down from the top down, right? You guys have Chris over there, man. I know Chris for a good 5, 6 years now.
Hmm.
Ron, just a stand-up dude, and you have such great leaders, and we're
Hmm.
blessed because we have that here too. Brad
Yes.
kills it in the Zoom for everybody. Grayson, so knowledgeable. Chris is always available to help, and our structure is amazing too.
Hmm.
And we're ready to like also take off and get going with that. One of the questions that was brought up here, Chad does a lot of recruiting. He really wants to like work at building his team. He says, "Would you ask Dom to say what to say to new agents to get their confidence built up if they're questioning themselves, staying with it and not giving in, whether they are in pre-licensing course or they're good to go." Or just help their first client. Have to keep those involved, keep them going, and get them to their first 100 appointments.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I had to have a conversation with a new agent this week about that of just the mentality and not getting discouraged and stuff like that. So I would say, let's say for anybody in first conversation, pre-licensing, before they even write a policy, then we'll talk about, starting day one dialing. So all the way in that pre part of it of actually getting going day one, to be honest with you, I make it a rather self-reliant thing. Hey, here's the opportunity. This is what it is. I can show you anything. Any questions you have, I will answer for you. I don't care if it's, hey, let me see your bank account or your P&L. I'll show you. I do not care. If this is something for you, I'm going to be completely transparent and telling you that it's a very simple process and a plug and play process, but the work is not easy because it is a lot of work. And you have to have a burn the boats mentality in the fact that you're going to come here for at least 6 months, because those who stay will be rewarded. And if in the first 6 months you're just going to have that wavering mentality, then I have to be extremely transparent with people, because I didn't do that at some point, and I just told people it's plug and play. You can come in and just do it. And if people come in with a wrong mindset that it's just going to be easy, and on day one or two, they don't get the success that they thought they were going to get because they have high expectations, it's a big letdown for them. So I just make sure I'm setting very clear expectations in the beginning. And I also just kind of let the cream rise to the top in that way, where I'm keeping up with people. But and I know, like, obviously Grayson and Chris know this way more, but I'm learning very quickly that, like, the people where they're asking you questions. Hey, I see this coming up a lot on the course. How would you recommend studying for this? Or hey, what happens? How many leads do I buy? And they're asking you questions like this when they're getting licensed. I keep pouring back into those people. But the people who are like, oh yeah, I'm on chapter one and it's 30 days in, okay, just let me know when you get it done if you have any questions, right? So I kind of let that shake itself out there. And then as far as from day one on dialing and keeping the confidence there, a lot of it is I do a lot of in-depth work early on, right? So like we, get them into daily training, we get them into the system, get them the scripts, get everything printed out and this and that. But then I'm taking time to go through and make sure that they're set up with their e-apps, they're organized, they know how to track numbers. I give them the number tracker that I have. Like, I make sure they're set up with specific things that I felt like I had in the beginning or maybe didn't have and develop down the road to then help them have success as well early on. And as far as the confidence, I mean, there's only so much I feel like you as an individual can do with that. So don't put so much pressure on yourself to help build up somebody else's confidence. A lot of it's going to come through the work that they do. So you just have to show them the way in the work, because confidence doesn't come from the fact that you can grab the mic at an open mic night and jump up and do a full poem or sing a song. Confidence is you believing in yourself that you can show up in any given moment. I'm a confident person because I said last night I'm going to get up and go to the gym this morning. And I woke up and I made that agreement with myself. I didn't negotiate and I followed through on it. I would have been frustrated with myself if I got up and I negotiated and I hit the snooze button a bunch of times and I just hopped on dials late. Then my confidence would have gone down for the day. So I teach that to my people and just let them know, hey, your results are going to come. They're just naturally going to come as a byproduct of you putting in the proper work. So let's make sure we fixate on your work, right? Be on dials at 8 a.m. I'm not your manager and I'm not your boss. And after 6 months, I don't care what you do, because after 6 months, you'll know what to do and how to do it. If you want to call central leads at that time and show up at 9 with your coffee, I don't care. But in the first 6 months, let's act like this is a 9 to 5 or an 8 to 5, and treat it like so. Like, be on Zoom. You wouldn't have a paper bag on your face if you walked into the office. So be present, be unmuted, let me hear you dial, because I'm going to give you constructive criticism and feedback to help you grow, because I take it personally that you trusted me enough to come onto my team in this group and to try and make money here and to help families and to grow your career. I want to give you as much as I can to help you. Those that take it and are receptive, they flourish. Those that don't, and maybe they're, they have a bad dial session, so they're not on Zoom all day. Again, everybody's here for a reason, and you tie into the meetings and the 11 o'clock in this meeting. So that's the successful habits that'll help you rise up. And those that obviously will continue to do that will rise up, and those that don't, you don't.
Love it, bro. You said a lot there, man, and it's just like so eye-opening, so good for the new agents and for the builders here. So just to go into and dissect it a little bit, one of the things you mentioned is the cream will rise to the top, right? The ones that want it get it, so they're gonna be the ones reaching out. So if you're on the call and you're not one of the ones reaching out, only look at yourself. Like literally, Chris, Grayson, myself, Brad and Ken, Mike, we're all here. Oh, Miranda, Maria, like everyone that's growing says, I'm available. We want you guys to reach out. I do think we want to be able to establish a little more structure within the team too, to be able to have more help as a whole. But the ones that opened, I just wrote it earlier. I'm like, guys, what questions do you have for Dom? Chad came up with one question, and I said, closed mouths don't get fed. We want to hear from you guys. We're all a team. We're all in this together. We want everyone to win, but we got to participate. And you just said it yourself, like you don't show up to your work with a paper bag over your head, right? Put your cameras on, be present, be involved. I'm not doing this for me. Like I'm good, right? Brad, Mike, they write their 40, $50,000 a month. They're good and they're here and their cameras are on, but they're present, man. So I absolutely love
Mm-hmm.
that. I do like how you also go in from the very beginning and you set a structure of like, hey, your next 6 months, you're gonna treat this like a job. 8 o'clock in the morning, you start and you finish when you're done. And if you do that and you give yourself that discipline, right, and you build up that confidence you're talking about, then your path is only gonna get easier moving on down. So, bro, I love that. On the Zoom rooms that you host, it's I know that Aiden was just on the training call and talking about that too and brought
Mm-hmm.
up you and brought up Ron, and I guess you guys have a couple of different rooms going on at the same time. Is normally everybody unmuted so that you can hear the new agents dialing too?
That's a great question. So what we do is, so I'll get on at like 7:50, and he's the first one in there. He'll be in there. He opens it up at like 7:30, and then he starts making the leaders hosts. And then he designates all these breakout rooms. So we have like, I mean, it's actually really cool. But granted, I mean, like in Josh's, there's like 113 writers. We probably have consistently 80-ish, 60 to 80 people on Zoom daily, which I mean, there's a lot of people here, and that's going to continue to grow, right? Like I remember when there was just 10 of us on Josh's Zoom last year at this time.
Right.
So then Ron makes all these breakout rooms. Like one is labeled Josh, Ron, Dom and Roble, Keon, Aiden, Kawachi, and Taylor Freeman. Like he puts the leaders in there. Then there's like Frizo room 1, Frizo room 2. There's 2 private rooms. There's an interview only room. And whoever's a host, you can drag and pull people around. People in their first couple weeks, like it's all like release style, right? So for example, I have a new girl that started. She's never done this before. I pull her into a breakout room every morning because I don't want her dialing in front of 10 dudes who have been doing this for 6 months, and she's going to feel intimidated. So I pull her into a room. Hey, I'm going to I'm going to unmute you. You could take Zoom down. I'm just going to listen to you and I'll give you feedback. Just keep your volume at a level where you can hear me if I jump in. So I do that with all my new people, right? Anybody. I bring them into a breakout room because the room can be a little intimidating when you're hearing Nick book every single person that he talks to, or Stephen Kephart is booking 20 appointments in an hour, right? And they're starting on D leads and they're not getting as many pickup, whatever it might be. And then once they're kind of like released, and I'm like, hey, you obviously know how to book appointments. Now let's run appointments together. Or, then we run appointments the same exact way. I pull them in and we just all have text message threads. And they know, hey, when you're presenting, keep your text up. So if I hear something, I can text you real quick. But I'm not gonna slack on my schedule because I still need to work to produce majority of my income. Because even though you have X amount of people, my spread's not that big because I'm building leaders within, right? And my people have built their comps up from coming in here. So I still have to produce in order to pay my bills and everything. So I just tell them, text me as soon as you're presenting. If I'm presenting, I'm going to pull us into a room and then be unmuted. And as soon as I'm available, I'm going to listen in and I'll give you feedback and everything. And I bounce off with Nick and Ron and everybody. See, that's the thing is we also just make it very airtight with our culture and Josh's whole entire Zoom over in that agency of like, we're all here to help each other. These aren't like other agencies where it's like, oh, let me go to your essay so that you then can talk to the MG, whatever it is, or right, like where people have come from. No, we're all here to help each other. Ron, I will literally look at the breakout room sometimes. It'll be 9 o'clock at night, and Ron's in a room with one of Nick's agents, who's my downline. And he's pulling them in, having a conversation. Hey, I'm Ron. What's up? Like, we're going to be in Zoom a lot together. Let's meet. Let's talk. He does that with all of them. So I would also suggest that too, of like, for any of the builders and leaders in here, make sure you're just engaging with all the people. Let them know you on a first name basis and know that they can come to you. Like, we're all one team here and growing. And if you have aspirations to be here, as long as like I know the leaders in this room want to be and be in that partnership level, think about it. You're going to get an override in the entire company. You might as well then have the heart of service to help everybody as well. So within this Zoom room and in ours, people bounce around Zoom rooms all the time. Aiden will come work in our room. He has a full agency he's running. He'll come work in our room and just listen to some presentations and give people the opportunity to like, hey, you guys come in here. People will text, hey, we're having a team training in this one. Feel free to come in. So we're all bouncing off each other and giving each other the opportunity to grow and learn from different people and how they're having success, much like you guys do here with your meetings. But when it comes to my agents, a lot of engagement. And then once I know that they're in a good place, like I don't have to worry about a Nick or a Steven. If Steven's on mute all day, I don't care. It's okay because Steven knows what he's doing. If he has a question, he'll come to me. But those agents really in the first 90 days, I tell them, you have to be engaged. I need to see you on. I need to see you unmuted. Like you have to let me know when your appointments are. And then I'm just trying to engage them as much as possible to get them up to speed. And then of course, those that pour in more, I continue to pour in. Those that start to pull away, I have a real honest, open conversation. And if they pick up, again, I pour back in. If they don't, then you just have to, again, you give time to the people who really need the time.
Absolutely, brother. I love that, man. I love the culture that you guys set up over there. Everybody can kind of just bounce around and hear from more than one individual, and everybody pretty much does the same thing because we all follow Brandon Hall's script, but some are gonna do it a little bit slightly different and put their own twist into it, which is
Mm-hmm.
fine. But it's really really cool the fact that everyone's getting a chance to participate and listen all throughout, and they all help each other out. I absolutely love that, man. Um, I did want to ask you for your new agents, let's say you go ahead and bring somebody in, they're a little financially tight, or they maybe just don't have the confidence to kind of put into leads. What would you say is the lead strategy that you go for new agents that are kind of in that position? How do you guide them?
Yeah. So whenever anybody comes in, I always say, hey, let's just start by getting you 75 to 100 D leads. Let's figure out the pace of dialing, your cadence, how to dial quickly, how to hit 150 dials before 11 a.m. And some days that might mean on your first day you dial 40 times. Well, okay, the next day let's do 70, right? Then it's okay, let's get to 100. Now let's get to 150 in that time, right? Because obviously, the more you go down the bonus lead alphabet, the more dials you do. The higher up you are, closer to A, the less dials you do. So I get them used to that. And I always tell them, whether they have experience or not, I want you to buy D leads because I want you to hear, even if you were an all-star at sales and cars, your questions, objections, and rebuttals are different than what it is here. So you might be the most fantastic salesman, but you have to hear what our clients are saying as the objections, because no matter what it is from A to D, it's still the same objections for the most part, right? So I have them always start on the D leads, and then you work from there. Obviously, whatever they return on it, then we put together a strategy of okay, what you're going to go into next. Whether that's hey, let's just continue with the D's if you felt like you were having good success and you were confident with those. Let's continue to roll into that and reinvest, and then or if it's hey, they profited well from that, they made a couple sales, they have money coming. Now let's look into some C's. Maybe we split 50 D's and 50 C's, and then eventually I want to get them to where they're buying 100 C's for like the first 2 to 3 days of the week. And then depending on what they do, we either go into another 100 C's, so they're spending 800 that week, or maybe we help get them like 20 B's to try to kind of, so that we're just scaling, right? I have agents that just stay at C leads. I had an agent last month that spent $800 and deposited 15,000, and it was his first month, so we got a bunch of bonus money in there as well. He
Say it
loves
again.
the
Some
C's.
people didn't hear that. He spent how much and deposited how much?
Yeah, Kyle Giffen. He spent 1,800 in leads and he deposited 15,000.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
He's some
Yeah,
eyes
and he
open wide
doubled
over here
he doubled his best month from his former company
with
for
C
30
leads,
days. Yeah,
right?
with
For all
C
the people out
leads.
there saying, "Hey, we're gonna say I'm not really seeing the success in the D's with the C's. It's all gonna come down to the structure, you know. But I'm gonna take some responsibility on that, 100%. Like we gotta be
Hmm.
able to help everybody get better, and
Yeah.
that's gonna be working those D leads, working those C leads, and helping you guys close. And so I'm so appreciative of you coming on here. Let me see. I know Michael Warren just asked, do you have any new hires record themselves and send it to you? If so, how many times? Or do you do it more live right with them on Zoom?
Live. I have had because like in the training in like the um what's the one they do on Thursdays? The new agent orientation, they'll tell them to do that. So I have had agents where they're like, "Hey, I'm going to record myself and I could send it to you, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course. Absolutely. I'm here for whatever." But then it's always, I mean, it's in Zoom. We get in Zoom. I'll get in Zoom on that's, Friday's my big recruiting and helping my team day. I run usually like overflow appointments. So I stack my schedule and sprint Monday through Thursday. Friday is more team oriented, training, recruiting calls. Saturday is maybe an appointment, touching base with the team, doing Brandon Hall's elite producer boot camp. Sundays, nothing, just family. So what I do is Mike, I get on with them and I just say, okay, click your camera off so it acts like you're on the phone. Let's go through this script. First, I do a breakdown of the script so that they understand the difference between making it just a guide and making it theirs, and where I use certain transitions and inflections with my tone and tonality. And then we just do it live back and forth. I tell them, okay, book me. And I give them to it real, no different than a client would do. Yeah, what's up? I got a second. Go ahead. I just stepped out of a meeting, right? Like I work so that they know when they come in, that's what they're going to face. And then I let them run through the appointment and try to close me and sell me, um, and do that there. Another big thing too is because there are a lot of visual learners. I share my screen every time I'm presenting, so you could see me going through the guide, you could see me going through the needs analysis, the client worksheet, you could see me punching things in the toolkits, you could see me quoting, and you could see me writing the app, and that helps a lot of new agents as well. So for people in here who are building and who are leaders, and that if you're booking 8 to 12 appointments a day and you're sitting with 6 and you're going to close at least 2 to 3 of those, like you're in that confident position, share your screen. Let people see how you flow, because that's a big thing for a lot of new agents coming into is we go fast, whole life, term, critical period, do this. No, go to UHL if they have diabetes. That's quick. That's a lot for a lot of people coming in. It is so much, and we move so fast. You have to slow it down and show them. You have to dumb it down and make it super simple and concise, which Unitrust does a very good job of already letting the system be like that. But I just make sure, Mike, that in the beginning, I put that work in them. No different than, you need a few steps to get going, like Bambi to get the legs going, right? You just got to work with them on that and just like help them get their steps. Then once they get their steps, they can sprint.
You know, you're a dad right there. Like, man, that's awesome, man. Congrats on that too. A beautiful family you do have. Um, Pratna, Pratna says, what are the times you book your clients? Do you go past 6 p.m.? What's normally the schedule of how you run?
Okay, so I try to do the Mike Warrants, I really do, but with where my
Me
team's
too.
at, um, it's a lot of sacrifice right now, man. I have a vision, I have a dream, and I know like I sprint Monday through Thursday. So like Nina and I are on the same page that like Monday through Thursday, there might be nights where, and I come down, I always help put Antonio to bed or help with the nighttime stuff and poke in when I can in between appointments. I try not to book between 7 and 8. But if somebody's like, hey, I get home at 8, I try not to do it, but I will, right? I will, because why not? Because if out of the week I do 3 of those and I close one of them and I make $1,500 off of it, who would not take a call for 45 minutes at 8 o'clock at night? I mean, I'm going to bed right after that, after cleaning up and getting right in the bed, I'm smiling going to bed. So, but right now, I mean, it's a lot of work, but I understand that this is the work that I need to put in now in order for me to be where it is I want to be. If I was just doing simple production though, I would tell them, yeah, I'm in the office between 1 and 6. I used to do that because I learned it from Mike and it works. Yeah, I'm in the office between 1 and 6. What works best for you? Oh, I didn't get home till 7. Okay, is there any other day this week that you're home before that at 6? And then sometimes you just might not be their guy, right? You might not be their representative or their agent. So, and that's okay.
Absolutely, bro. I love that, man. I know I only got you for like 10 minutes, so I'm gonna encourage the team. Anything you guys want to bring up, I can ask questions all day long. I mean, I can hang out with Don, have a beer, and we'll talk
Yes.
for hours, you know. But anything you guys want to put on, please go ahead and do so. One thing that I want to ask you is, you've been through it, good year now. You've had nothing but great success, but this business is full of a roller coaster ride. You're gonna have your
Yes.
ups and downs, and you're gonna manage it on your own, and you're gonna manage it for other agents. how would you say that you take on these roller coaster rides, and how do you go about them?
Yeah, I mean, I ride it, right? I ride it and I learn how to ride it better and I learn how to get better at it and I learn how to more so enjoy the roller coaster rather than letting the roller coaster take me for the ride, right? So, what I mean by that is, I came in with credit card debt and hemorrhaging cash out of my savings, and having been at a company where I made multiple six figures out of college, and then was at a very low point as just like a person, but as a man with like a family and a kid, where I was like, dude, what am I doing? What am I doing? So I felt like my back was against the wall when I came here, and I kept switching opportunities. And it's really embarrassing as a man to go to like your wife and constantly say like, hey, I think this new idea is going to be the thing that helps me crack. And I see this vision for us. We're going to do it. And finally she's like, dude, just do it. Right. Like when you go here, just stick here and make it happen. So I say all this to let you know of like, hey, that roller coaster, like I just kind of got off of it not too long ago because it's now becoming, and Brad and I were talking about it when I first came in here, of how when you're in this, again, those who stay will be rewarded. That comes with the mental discipline too, of understanding like now I just wake up and I don't think about coming to do work. In my first 6 months, I was like, if I go and buy leads and I book a full schedule, there is a chance I don't sell anybody and I'm not profitable for that day. And that was very scary for me. The way I overcame it was just more work. It's what Kephart said a couple weeks ago when he was on Elite Producer Boot Camp. Clear your schedule. And Mike Warren says all the time, right? Like the devil creeps in when there's white space in your calendar. So the more you can fill your calendar and be busy, you're asking for the no show, or you're asking for them to say no, so that because you're 3 appointments behind and you have to get to the next people. And so you're then not worried about whether or not they're saying yes. So that activity is actually what's going to help drive more of you getting off that roller coaster, because then you're going to be able to prove to yourself over the long haul, looking back at your data, that it really is a numbers game. And if you just focus on your inputs, the rest takes care of itself. Now, granted, yes, you have to sharpen your axe and get better at your skill of selling in the process, because this is a skill. Selling is a skill, because naturally I'm not the person where like, I just want to eagerly go into the middle of conference of all those people and just start talking with everybody. That actually is not what I like. I like sitting around the fire thing with like 5 people, right? That's where I can talk, like ear off corn. I'll talk with anybody. But in those big settings, I'm a little bit more reserved. So sales was something that helped bring out more confidence in me when I got into it after school. And it's a skill, and you can work on a skill. You can read books on it. You can go get better at it, to where then you can really let this game here at Unitrust be a numbers game that you can duplicate, and you can also manipulate because you know your numbers. But you have to give yourself time in it and do the same thing very consistently to allow yourself to be able to measure it. Then you have a measuring point to then be able to grow it.
I love it, bro. You're so systematic, so passionate about it, so eager to just be able to give back, and I love that. And clearly, you mastered sales down, dude. For the week, we're not even done. You're at 9K. That's impressive. But your team's at 44K. Love that, right? So you're so far maybe a fourth, a little bit less of your production. So I kept digging in. Do you mind if I do this?
Of course.
All right, cool. So last month, my boy came in with 52K. It was 5 weeks, a little bit over $10,000 per week. Consistency. Again, team, 232,000 for the month. My brother. Yes, right? And then I look a little bit deeper. Let's go into the 90 days. Like, it's gonna blow your mind. I mean, your mind has already been blown by this industry, but like more than anything, in 90 days, in 3 months' time, he's been able to submit $135,000 in business. That's more than some people do for the year, or double what some people do for the year, right? But as a team, 530,000. That's in 90 days. Bro, congratulations. You're on your way to achieving and building that Coliseum. And I looked back at 2024. 2024, my boy Dom submitted $420,000, give him his jacket, but the team did 920. What do I see there? I see that team production from what starting to end was half of it was his. But if we look at today's numbers, right? If we look at last month, he's about less than a fourth. So the team is truly growing. The team is truly building, and the work that he's putting into it is it's paying off. He's eventually gonna have to maybe take a step back and just help more of the growth, which I'm sure you're super excited to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's
Yeah.
it's awesome, man. Congratulations. You've
Thank
been
you.
building
Yeah,
it the
that's
right way.
awesome.
It's exciting to see this. I don't see any other questions coming up on here, so if you guys do have them, put them in now. If not, Dom, man, Your tonality is great. Your pace is great. I think I'm gonna go jump into your Zoom room one day just to hang out.
Would
Um,
love to.
but give me some last thing, something you like to just leave behind that's super important for an agent that's either here for a while and needs more success or just kind of getting started.
Yeah, yeah. I think it would be proper more maybe to talk to the people who are like earlier on in this and who are trying to figure this thing out, and like maybe you have like that little voice of doubt that continuously creeps in. Guys, I've always like it's same devil, different levels. It doesn't change. That same voice in my head now, very transparently, where like my last month I made 30 plus thousand and is like inching me of like, is that enough? Is the same thing of when I made 8,000 in my first month of saying like, if I don't make more, I won't ever get out of my situation. If you notice, it's that voice is there at every moment. Whether I'm writing 6 grand in a week or I'm writing 60 grand in a month, it's always there. So my point in saying that is um, there's no secret sauce or any leader who's going to come and save you and make it sound easier, give you some sort of something to be able to write 100,000 right away in your first month. It's something you have to go on, and it's a journey you have to go on, and that's your hero's journey is going and facing those mountains that are right in front of you. And sometimes they are mental, but if you overcome those and you allow yourself the opportunity to just like take away the commission breath and take the U-Haul off as you're trying to drive uphill and like let certain things go and allow yourself the opportunity to really get the most from this opportunity, it's truly fantastic. It really is. And the more you pour into it, this thing just continuously seems to pour back. And I'm not even at the levels of like a Grayson, Chris Photo, or some of you guys in here. And I'm like blown away with gratitude every single day of what this place has been able to provide. And I look forward to so much growth that continues to come with it. But where you're at in the beginning is it often is a lot of things of like it's moving fast. There's so much. I'm trying to learn it. Maybe I'm not doing as well as I thought I would, but I see other people constantly having success. I feel like I might be getting left behind. Pour more into it. Call your people, annoy them, be on the phone with them. That is one thing we're constantly doing. If I have white space in my calendar, I don't go dial for more now because I know my numbers. If I run my X amount of appointments in a week, I'm going to sell X. So in that time, I'm calling agents. If I get 3 no's in a row and I'm feeling down on myself, I call my agents. Hey, what's up? What can I help you with? What do you need? I'm constantly pouring into this business and it just continuously it pours back to me. And it's doing that for a lot of people that I'm bringing in and the people around as well. So it's creating a very abundant environment. So what I would say is put yourself in that environment. If you're new, your whole morning session before you even get to the phones, you should be creating whether it's plunging, gym, meditation, yoga, whatever. It's something to get yourself in the state of abundance of thinking, I'm going to go call these leads. These people need me. I'm going to serve them. And there's profit in it for me and for them. It's the perfect economy. And allow yourself to hone in on this skill and to get better at it and to pour into it and to really get what it is from this experience. I know you all know that you can get because you see other people doing it.
Yes, bro. You remind me of a little bit of a younger Chris Photo over here with the you talk, man.
That's a major compliment.
It's a great, it
Yeah.
really is, man. Chris is
Just with the hair of Mike Warren.
another compliment. And Grayson. All right. Nathan, I don't want to leave your question out. You said here what's the best way to practice and learn on the different applications and how to work the carriers. We can work with you on that, brother. We're more than happy to. But the best way is literally get in there, start filling it out. Like if you were filling it out for yourself, don't submit it. Fill it out,
Yep.
just kind of go through the process. It's super,
Yeah.
super easy. That's a thing.
That's
Is
what
there
I did. Yeah. Just don't sign it. Put your social, put your banking in, see what the client sees. That's going to help you anyway. Explain it to them. Just don't sign it. Then delete it. That's what I did.
Hey, brother, this one right here is purely for social media content. Tell me from your perspective, what is the biggest difference between being with us at Unitrust or anywhere else?
Wow. Okay. Well, it's the fact that it is the structure of a system. Again, I told you I'm a type A individual, so I like the fact that I can come in here and have a structure. And the fact that Unitrust provides, guys, most agents, if like I have a recruiting campaign, so I see a lot of different people and young people who my account on Instagram just follows, and I look at their page at the end of the day. Guys, a lot of these guys just they get up at like 9, 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then they're dialing from like 10 until 9 p.m. at night, just trying to do one call closes on final expense leads. The
Mm.
fact that we have a dialed in system here allows us the opportunity to literally measure 4 things. I took this note from Josh when I was on a fly on the wall during one of his recruiting calls. The fact that we have a system, we can track contact rate, book rate, show rate, and close rate. That means you can measure this business, which means you can scale, right? So the biggest thing is just activity. It's the fact that I can come into a system that says, okay, dial the phone from 8 to 11, buy these leads, dial the phone from 8 to 11, go on the training from 11 to 12, take lunch, relax, run appointments from 1 or 2 to 6. Sometimes you go a little bit over. If you need to run one on Saturday, you do it, but mainly just do that Monday through Friday and you'll make X. I plug into that. And then however much I spend on leads is how I know I print money. So that's what I love about Unitrust and why this place is home to me is the fact that I found a system where if you plug into it, it serves you very well.
I love it, brother. Mike, if you want to unmute here, and Don, if you're open to it, Mike and I do our podcast on a weekly basis for the MP Pros. Soon, maybe not this week, but we'd love to have you as a guest on there too.
Love it. I would love so. I would love to. Yeah, love to.
Awesome, awesome. Guys, thank you so much. Don DiFranco here. We appreciate you. Thanks for sharing your wisdom, your time with us. I'll let you run. I know you have to get going here, but
Yeah,
thank you for
appreciate
being
that.
with us.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on and giving me the time. So you guys take care.
Be good, brother.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you.
Be well. Yep. Bye bye.
That was awesome, guys. Like, what an inspirational guy. What a great speaker. Chris, if you want to unmute, join me here. Mike, Brad, Grayson, whoever wants to. There's a little housekeeping, but I hope everybody was able to take it to heart, and just really see like what momentum, what energy goes into it. Maybe simplified it for you a little bit, or maybe sparked you up to speak up more and reach out to any of us that are here to help so that we can all grow together and better.